Tonight, highway tragedy, 3 killed in a collision near Ross. An early mark for Tasmania when the Premier plans to open the state's borders. The federal government strikes a deal for a travel bubble with New Zealand. Authorities make a devastating discovery after a search for a missing kayaker. US President Trump and wife Melania test positive for COVID-19. And finals fever hits Brisbane, the Tigers ready to roar in Queensland.
Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening. First tonight, 3 people have died and a child is in a serious condition after a horror crash on the Midland highway around 1 o'clock this afternoon. Investigations are continuing into the evening.
School holiday carnage on the Midland highway.
Tasmania has experienced a tragedy, and that is the death of 3 individuals on our roads. A vehicle travelling north carrying a family and towing a caravan has unfortunately lost a solar panel off the roof of that caravan, which has landed in the southbound lane. A vehicle travelling south has taken evasive action to try and avoid that solar panel, and as a result lost control of the vehicle, and this accident has occurred.
A man, woman and girl were killed on impact. Another child in the car had to be freed from the back seat before being airlifted to the Royal Hobart Hospital.
This is an absolute tragedy for the Tasmanian community, not just for those families involved and their friends, but for those people that were on the scene, for those people that were on the road at the time, and for those people that have attended subsequently.
The occupants in the northbound vehicle survived.
The second vehicle was also carrying several people, a male, a female and a child, all of who have been transported to the Royal Hobart Hospital for treatment for their injuries.
Police say the driver of the caravan hadn't realised the panel had come off.
We do experience these scenes. They never get any easier. They are horrific. They remind us every day of the value of life and why it is so important that we travel carefully on our roads.
And Kim, traffic is starting to flow here on the highway with cars being diverted through the paddock behind me and also on the highway. Police say it will be a long and complex investigation with the coroner himself and crash investigators at the scene this afternoon. But at this stage, Kim, police say it is simply a tragedy.
Certainly is. Thank you. Letitia Wallace there at the scene just near Ross. Well, police have located the body of a 19-year-old kayaker who went missing yesterday afternoon. Valentine Bester failed to meet friends on the Tasman Peninsula, sparking an extensive search.
A desperate search ending in tragedy.
As professional search and rescue officers, we like to be optimistic that we'll find people alive. Unfortunately, in this case, it hasn't occurred, and it is heartbreaking.
Around 11 yesterday morning, 19-year-old Valentine Bester took off from Lauderdale's Roaches Beach on a kayak, planning to meet friends at Lyme Bay around 15 kilometres away by sea, but he never arrived. His friends losing contact in the afternoon, reporting him missing and sparking a large-scale sea and air search.
And we've spent considerable amount of time last night and into the early hours of this morning searching the Frederick Henry Bay and Norfolk Bay area.
Going late into the night, efforts were hampered by high winds, resuming at first light this morning. Almost 24 hours after the 19-year-old set out on his journey, the grim discovery was made by a member of the public. His body found around 200 metres away from the boat ramp here at Sloping Main Beach.
The information we have is that he did have a life jacket on at the time, and at some stage he appears to have become separated from his kayak and entered the water.
The kayak located nearby.
We get some solace in the fact that we can return Valentine to his family.
A report will be prepared for the coroner. Meg Sides, 7 Tasmania News.
October 26, that's the date. Tasmania will open to most of the country. A question mark still hangs over New South Wales, while authorities are carefully watching Victoria, but it's still welcome news for some businesses staring down the barrel of collapse.
Coffee is John Ostag's passion, But a few years ago, he branched out into biking. That was until COVID put the brakes on the business.
I think I've had 4 inquiries in the last 6 months, and I'm not even sure that we'll open again until the borders open.
Today, the news he and countless others had been waiting for.
Today I can confirm that based on advice from the State Controller and Public Health, that our plan is to reopen our borders to safe and low-risk COVID states from the 26th of October.
Almost every state and territory will be open. Victoria is still off limits. New South Wales is looking promising.
We will continue to keep New South Wales under advisement for the next week or so.
Virgin quickly announcing more flights from Brisbane and Sydney to Hobart, as well as Sydney to Launceston. Authorities are confident COVID-safe plans and restrictions on large gatherings will do the job. As for relaxing the rules on dancing or standing with a drink...
Look, we're certainly reviewing all the time our restrictions and the current patterns of disease in Tasmania.
Tasmania won't yet be part of the New Zealand bubble announced by the Commonwealth. The Premier hopes it will happen.
I'm confident that we will get to a position whereby we can join the travel bubble.
Yeah, I'd love to go over there and have a holiday, but also from business. We get a lot of people from New Zealand come over and do mountain bike tours with us.
Hope in a time when it's sorely needed. Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmania's Human Services Minister says a senior manager will be sent to investigate a controversial youth program used by the state government. 6 children are enrolled in the program in the Northern Territory. Labor, the Greens and the Aboriginal Centre are calling on the government to bring the children back.
We will be sending one of our senior managers up to the Northern Territory as soon as we can to be there on the ground to see for themselves what's happening there.
The government insists the program has been effective. A house fire at Kettering overnight has caused around $500,000 damage. Crews remained on the Oyster Court scene this morning. Investigations continuing after a blaze began in the 2-storey flat around 7 p.m. yesterday. Authorities were able to prevent the fire spreading to a conjoined house, but one person was treated for smoke inhalation at the scene. Fire investigators say the blaze was caused by a pot left on the stove. With October marking Breast Cancer Awareness Month, the new surgical clinic is preparing to open its doors to provide extra support to women. With almost a quarter of all breast implants in Australia used for reconstruction after cancer, specialist surgeons will now be on site to help women through the often anxious time, saying their priority is keeping women safe.
If problems are identified early and if they're managed early, the prognosis is very good. However, if they're picked up late, then unfortunately the prognosis is not so good.
The clinic opens for consultation next month. An online auction raising funds for Cancer Council Tasmania has gone live with a large collection of sporting memorabilia up for grabs. 100 different items have been donated to the charity as part of its annual gala dinner in the northwest later this month.
Very generous gentleman who has his own cancer story and he has donated his entire life collection of sporting memorabilia, but also Swarovski crystals. So it ranges from Muhammad Ali signed photographs, cricket bats, footballs.
The sold-out Unite in Yellow Gala will be held at Devonport's Parinapple Convention Centre on October 24, with money raised going towards local cancer support services. Live music and theatre might be hard to find, but it will soon be easier to catch a show on the streets of Hobart. More buskers are on the way, with Council giving the green light to trial extra spots in the city.
Knowing Hobart as I do, I'm pretty sure that there will be various different performances from dancing, tap dancing, juggling, people singing, musical instruments and so forth, perhaps even acrobatics.
I want to try all of the spots. At Fitzroy Gardens, there's a lovely stage that we just saw walking through the other day and we're like, perfect.
The trial is expected to run for 6 months. A spotlight is being shone on the therapeutic benefits of art on mental health in the annual Minds Do Matter exhibition. Now in its 11th year, the project aims to give Tasmanian artists an open canvas to explore their feelings and emotions. The theme this year is balance.
For me, I think that this particular exhibition is beautiful because it's so inclusive. It's not a competitive exhibition as well, so you've just got everyone sharing the space and sharing their thoughts.
It enables an audience member to come in and look at these works and just basically really, I guess, present the effects of, the importance of mental health and these stories, these local stories, which are really important to capture.
The exhibition, which features 160 artists this year, opens at QV Mag tomorrow and runs until early November. The winners of this year's Tasmanian Young Achievers Awards have been announced in an online ceremony. 18-year-old environmental activist Toby Thorpe taking out 2 awards, including the Premier's Young Achiever of the Year.
Every young person watching this and every single person who's ever going to watch this, you're incredible, you can change the world, and don't underestimate the power that we all have within to change our communities.
Other winners included 22-year-old Zoe Douglas Kinghorn for a Create Change Award and Heidi LaPaglia for her work in the disability sector. The virtual presentation was held last night, recognising 10 young people for their accomplishments and contributions to the community.
To the TSL now, Richard Robinson is stepping down as coach of North Hobart. After leading the club through some of its darkest days, Robinson says his family must now come first.
Last night's training at North Hobart would have an emotional encore, with Richard Robinson revealing his coaching days are done.
There was a few tears, a few players were visibly upset, so that just shows how much we mean to each other and how invested the boys are in making sure this club continues on the upward spiral.
When Robinson took over the side in late 2017, only 12 players were showing up to pre-season training. This year, he witnessed some of the greatest performances under his tenure, but reaping the rewards of his investment has come at the cost of his young family and private business.
I felt like I was burning the candle too much at both ends, and something had to give, and unfortunately it's me as the senior coach of this great footy club.
The resilience, the strength of character and the determination that he showed to go from that situation to the one that we're in today speaks volumes for his capacity and his leadership skills, which are fantastic.
Robinson's replacement will be announced next week. And a blockbuster is in store in the Southern Football League semi-final. The Huon Valley's bitter rivals will go toe-to-toe.
Each team grows another leg when they play each other. It's a massive rivalry, and you'll see the crowd tomorrow will be as big as we can have.
It's always nice, especially to make a grand final and then to get one over Huonville to get in there would be nice.
And in the Northwest Football League, Devonport and Wynyard will face off at Latrobe, the winner to play Burnie in the decider.
And now for the third and final part of our Sydney Olympics flashback. The final week of competition saw Tasmanians return home with a haul of medals.
With beer and binoculars, thousands line the shore to witness something special. Tasmanian-born Mark Turnbull claiming a drought-breaking gold.
Mark Turnbull on the trapeze.
Combining with Tom King in the 470, the pair was locked in battle with the Americans. But Turnbull and King became known as the Comeback Kings, claiming an ecstatic victory.
They're shaking hands already. Gold for Australia in the men's 470 class.
Australia hadn't won gold in sailing since 1972.
How does it feel?
It's bloody great. Just magnificent. It's unbelievable.
By now, Wynyard's Carla Boyd had earned the nickname the Enforcer.
Boyd on the outside and Carla Boyd knocks it down.
She led the Opals on an unbeaten streak until the USA broke hearts in the gold medal match. Still, there were silver smiles.
This was the real deal, and I was absolutely ecstatic to make that team.
Sydney marked an extraordinary milestone for kayaker Daniel Collins, who became the state's first triple Olympian. He celebrated with silver and in the wash-up announced his retirement from the sport.
What better way to go out in front of the Australian crowd and the people, and would have liked to have gone out well and truly on top with a gold medal, but not to be.
Our kookaburras, Matthew Wells and Daniel Sproul, were knocked out in the semi-final by the Netherlands, but ran over Pakistan to take bronze. Reflecting on his first Olympics, Wells was driven to improve in Athens.
That feeling, it's all bottled up still now.
While Hobart's Kylie Risk also competed in the final week, bowing out in the heats of the 10,000 metres. The Games declared the greatest of all time, and by all accounts, the post-Games party was as well.
My favourite shot in all of that, Kim, was the bloke with the carton of beer on his head. But to recap now, Bulldogs and Saints of the Gabba. And tomorrow, the winner to play the loser of tonight's game. Collingwood playing West Coast over in Perth. The winner of that game to take on Geelong. Northwest is footy on Latrobe Oval tomorrow, 2:30. Also in the Southern Football League, the semi-finals. Massive weekend in sport, Kim.
Is indeed. You are a wealth of information. Thank you, Tom. Have a good weekend.
You too.
One thing we know is that the Swans won't be in the AFL Grand Final. Swans Van Murph after the break.
Good evening. Well, everyone knows that my wife coordinates my wardrobe, and tonight she feels that the yellow and black would be appropriate. That's my disclaimer. Friendly Beach is the high today with 22 degrees, Hobart 21, Launceston 19, Burnie 20 and Devonport 16. Temperatures above average today with the winds well above average. Very blustery indeed. St Helens and Bushy Park 20 degrees, Flinders Island and Grove 19, King Island 18, Low Head and Strawn 16 and Lyawini 14 today. There was cloud and it banked up onto the west coast today with mostly clear sunny conditions over the rest of the state. Mostly low-level cloud over southern WA and a bit more near the Northern Territory border. Most of the continent, though, cloud-free. Tomorrow, a low over South Australia extends a cold front back over WA and a warm front down and across to our southeast. Northwesterly winds 20 to 30 knots, easing to 10 to 20 knots in the early afternoon. Lighter winds over the upper west and the lower east, swells to 4 metres. Strong wind warning from Tasman Island to Low Rocky Point and from Sandy Cape to St Helens Point. Now for the weekend weather. Not great, is it? Rain for Hobart 21, rain for Medina 17, rain also on the way for Oaklands. Launceston expecting a top tomorrow of 22 degrees with rain developing, same for Devonport 19 the high and 17 for Lyawini. Burnie 20 degrees with rain, rain for Strawn 17, 18 the top for Marrawar. St Helens tomorrow looking for a high of 23 with the winds easing, but the rain will take its place. Swansea rain on the way too, 24 and 22 for Orford. On Sunday, rain easing and tending to showers over the southwest, winds light and tending southwesterly. Showers into Monday, easing and clearing later, while on Tuesday mostly fine and sunny, cloudy over the southern half though. Partly cloudy in Perth and 18 degrees, 10 degrees warmer in Adelaide tomorrow, a windy day for Melbourne but fine, sunny 25s for Canberra and Sydney, partly cloudy for Brisbane. Clear and still 17 in Hobart, 14 right now in Launceston, partly cloudy in Devonport and 13 degrees. Kim, I've got to explain, my wife Donna is a typical Richmond supporter, so it's going to be a nightmare watching the footy tonight. I might need a beverage.
What another one. That's your news for now. Louise will join you over the weekend. Take care, everyone. Good night.